So there have been two other variations of this type of a question, and the approach is very similar, is to recognize that this identity, when you square, becomes x squared plus 1 over x squared plus 2, because that is the product, twice the product of those two terms. That means that if I know x squared plus x 1 over x squared, I can replace that here, and then if I take the square root, this becomes square root of 27, which is 3 root 3. And note here, because x is positive. So then the question is, how do we get to that? The first thing we can do is we can get to x to the fourth plus 1 over x to the fourth by squaring that. And we'll need this too. I'll come back to that one. But I wanted to start with that basic identity. So if you square that, again, if you apply the same pattern here, you will get plus 2. We know what this number is. That's 25 square minus 2. 25 squared is 625, so that becomes 623. So we have this piece. Now the question is, how do we get to x to the 7 plus 1 over x to the 7? And the key insight is that if you were to multiply these with x cubed plus 1 over x cubed, you will see you will get x to the 7 plus x plus 1 over x plus 1 over x to the 7th. And this is the part we need. This we have already computed. So next we have to figure out what is x cubed plus 1 over x cubed is. And this is the piece that we need. And then I already figured out x plus 1 over x, which is 3 root 3. So that's the next one. And this is where you will use this identity. And this is what makes this question hard, is you have to use multiple identities. So if you use the identity for the cube, this will become x cubed plus 1 over x cubed plus 3 times square of that times that, which would be 3x, and then 3 times square of that times that, which would be 3 over x. And you'll note that this is just x plus 1 over x, which we already know is 3 root 3. So that whole thing becomes 9 root 3. X plus 1 over x we already know is 3 root 3. We just have to cube it, which would be 27 times 3 times root 3, or 81 root 3, which means this piece is 81 root 3 minus 9 root 3, which is 72 root 3. Now we can plug that in here. So 623 times 72 root 3, x to the 7 plus 1 over x to the 7 plus 3 root 3. So we'll do this multiplication here. 623 times 72 is 44856 root 3, and then minus 3 root 3. Not to forget that piece. And then if you subtract that, you will get 44853 root 3, which is answer choice A. One other comment about this question, the answer choices are really close. So, we can't really even approximate it, because you could take that equation and solve for x. You'll get a quadratic. You'll have to use the quadratic formula, and you will get a unique value for x, and you could potentially plug it in here. But the problem is these answers are awfully close. So it's going to be very difficult to distinguish between the correct answer. So that's why approximation won't work. So yeah, it's a hard question. The answer is